Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with If I Could Choose Only One Recording by Artist X. It would have to be a version of Work D. Artist X, in this case, is FRITZ REINER, and I'll bet you know what Work D has to be. Well, even if you don't, I'm going to tell you. It's this. Ein Heldenleben by Strauss with the Chicago Symphony on RCA. This is the original jacket, the extremely ugly and uninteresting original jacket that apparently it came out with. Oh, well, there you go. It had this wonderful back here that says Richard Strauss in high fidelity. And high fidelity it certainly was. You know, Reiner was famous as a sort of sadomasochistic orchestral tyrant, but a very, very brilliant sadomasochistic orchestral tyrant. He was fabulous at the late romantic blockbuster repertoire. I mean, that's what he really, really did. He was in his element there, as few other conductors were at the time. I mean, he could take an incredibly big, complex score and have it played at a level of precision that was really kind of amazing, even more than, for example, someone like Toscanini, I think. I really do. I mean, anyway, Ein Heldenleben is a wonderful testament to his ability because it's a piece that almost never works. It's full of pitfalls and problems. It's too long. It's got episodes that drone on. It has an incredibly disappointing last 10 minutes. You know, it's typical Strauss, in other words, but it also has moments of unbelievable splendor and orchestral glory and tons of unnecessary notes and complex polyphony and intricate textures, all of which Reiner clarifies and makes sure that the orchestra actually plays. But even more, for somebody who was, like this, who really, took himself terribly seriously, Ein Heldenleben is basically humorous. I mean, it's an ironic, at best, look at, of course, Strauss himself. There are sections entitled, his critics, and his wife, his girlfriend, which is an endless violin solo. Then there's the battle with the critics. I mean, it's fun. It should be fun. It should sound fun somehow, even though Reiner was terrorizing the orchestra and, carrying on like a maniac. It sounds fun. A lot of it has to do with tempo and timing. Reiner had that. I don't think Reiner ever made a dull recording. He made some cold recordings emotionally. He could be somewhat distant. He really could. Some of his Bartók, for example, which is highly acclaimed, and some of it is just splendid, has been, described as sort of emotionally kind of distant or cold. But then again, Bartók could be a little bit emotionally kind of distant or cold. But Reiner never failed when it comes to figuring out the proportions that a piece had to have. And there is no work that has a trickier series of proportions than Ein Heldenleben. The opening really surges. The playing is just full of energy and vim and vigor. He doesn't linger over the parts that really can't be lingered over. The music is always pushing forward. And that is such a big deal at this piece. It really is. I adore this recording. I really do. But beyond adoring the recording, just personally, what this recording has going for it is RCA's living stereo sonics. Because in the 1950s, the second half of the 1950s, when stereo first got going, you had Mercury Living Presence, you had RCA Living Stereo, you had a couple labels making recordings of a fidelity, sonic fidelity, that were extraordinary, and that still are. I mean, how many years later is it? 50, 60, 70 years, 70 years later now, I think. Yeah, we're talking about 70 years on, and these things still set a standard for high-fidelity sound production. They really do. It's astonishing, absolutely astonishing. The orchestral playing is non-pareil. It's absolutely amazing, and it's recorded with a vividness and a clarity and an impact that really it remains unmatched in this music. And the combination is simply unbeatable. So if I had to give to the evil god Cancrozans that wants to destroy all of classical music except for one work per artist or one work composer, I would say, hey, you can't eliminate Reiner's living stereo stuff. It's just so glorious. And there's so much wonderful stuff to listen to. There's so much more stuff. There's, the Mahler 4, and there's Pictures in an Exhibition, and Scheherazade, and lots more Strauss. This is actually his second Ein Heldenleben. There's a mono one with Pittsburgh that's also been released. It just is an extraordinary legacy captured in, sound that, it's still a legacy. We still talk about it. We still look at it. We pet it. We stroke it. We love it. We kiss it. We think it's amazing. And so it is. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.